Right, yeah, so I mean, essentially, I was on the 15th floor, and yes, I mean, I was in the kitchen basically pouring some champagne in anticipation of New Year's Eve for the fireworks, which is essentially what I was expecting to see. And then, yes, my father basically went out on the balcony and essentially powered back into the room, sort of screaming that the hotel was on fire, which one we all thought was, was a joke. But then I went out on the balcony and basically saw that the room next door to us completely on flames and pretty much just fire everywhere. So, yeah, I basically ran out of the room and, got to the fire escape before the fire alarm had actually started going off, at which point there were already people running into the corridors and panicking, essentially. I ended up having to put somebody on my back who was in a wheelchair and carry them down to the ground floor. So, yeah, it was basically absolute pandemonium. And at the moment, we're sort of standing around on the pavement at the bottom of the hotel, pretty much not sure what to do. So, yeah, still this sort of state of pandemonium is pretty much the best way to describe it.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. How many were there in your party? I mean, there was your father, did you say, and you, and who else?
There were 5 of us. So there was me, my mother, my father, my girlfriend, and my sister.
Okay, and you made your way downstairs from the 15th floor, what, using the staircase, I presume?
Exactly, yeah, because obviously the lifts are out of action.
Yeah.
Now, we did see people coming down later in wheelchairs, so I presume there was some kind of measure involved. But yeah, unfortunately for my mother, because it was quite early stages, I basically strapped it to my back and put it down. It's the only way of getting around the building, unfortunately.
I mean, was there any kind of alarm? Were there any kind of sprinklers that went off?
I didn't see a single sprinkler. It was slightly worrying that the alarm went off essentially when the building was properly on fire. So it did feel like a bit of delayed reaction. It definitely wasn't, I guess the most... I guess it didn't seem particularly fluid, I guess, the evacuation process. And that was just from a first-hand experience right at the beginning. Perhaps it improved along time.
Maybe so. I mean, presumably when you realised that the building was on fire and you had to get out as quickly as possible, there were plenty of others around you in all the other rooms who also realised the same thing. I mean, were there a lot of people with you on the stairs as you made your way out?
It was. I mean, it was the classic thing where you'd expect people to let, women and children off first, but no, it was people sort of throwing each other down the stairs and climbing over each other. So it definitely wasn't letting women and children off first, put it that way.
People climbing over each other?
Essentially, yeah.
In a sort of, would you have described it as panic?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah. I mean, look, to be fair, there were a lot of hotel staff directing people to, to the various exits and stuff. But there was absolutely no clarity about what had happened. There's still no idea of how this fire started or whether it was, it was an accident or whether it was an act of arson or something. But, yeah, I mean, quite frankly, we were in the hotel and we had no idea where to go and we had no idea what happened. So, yeah, definitely still in a state of alarm, I'd say.
Have you got any impression now? I mean, I'm picturing you now, Angus, out in the street, wondering, what your next move is going to be. I mean, are you getting any impression?
I'm basically
yeah. Have you got any sort of impression of how the firefighting operation is going, for example?
Not really. But I saw a lot of firefighters. Not sure what they were doing. I'm sure they've done quite a good job because it seems like the fire has pretty much gone out, from where I'm standing anyway. But yeah, I mean, I'm still in a state where I've absolutely no idea what I should be doing, whether I should be somewhere, but I'm not, so I'm just wandering around on the streets chatting to you. So, yeah, not sure what I'm doing, sorry.
Well, hopefully the evening will settle down a bit for you. You've been through quite a lot in the last hour or so.
Not quite the fireworks display I was expecting, but yeah, nevertheless, still interesting.
It's interesting you say you think the fire might be sort of under control now. The pictures we're looking at still show that it's burning quite extensively.
I'm at that's slightly worrying to hear. I mean, I'm at an angle where I only see black smoke. I was under the impression, hoping that it was kind of under control, because I've left pretty much everything in the flat, because obviously I only took valuables, i.e. my phone and iPad and mother. But yeah, outside of that, pretty much everything else is still left in the room.
I believe that a photo we looked at on our screens a moment ago was taken by you, which looked to me like you'd gone out on the balcony and the next room, you could see the flames in the next room.
Yeah, well, exactly. That is basically the image which, when I said I went out on the balcony and saw the room next door on fire. I mean, my family were like, what are you doing? We need to get out. But obviously, I put media at the forefront to dive down to the balcony, braving the flames to take a photo for you guys. So, yeah.
Well,
it wasn't ideal, put it that way.
But it does tell an extraordinary story, I have to say. I'm glad and happy for you that all 5 of you made it out of the building, and I hope everyone made it out of the building for that matter. And I do hope that you do salvage something of your holiday.
There are a lot of worried people waiting at the bottom, with family up there. So one of the first questions, we had several people coming up to us asking how my mother escaped in a wheelchair. So I think there are a lot of people who are very worried about the situation. Perhaps it's better now, but I mean, like I said, people aren't really sure what's going on.